I'm going to explore the very specific topic of how to deal with covering material as it goes over the top of the walls at the corner of a tray. I'll demonstrate 4 different ways of doing this. I had the great honour of presenting remotely to the Nordic Bookbinders Society this week. At the time this was being organised, I was working on the Pella pop-up box, and because of the connection between Hugo Pella and Finland, we decided maybe I could present on a box-related topic. I realised I hadn't done a video specifically on the topic of how to cover the top corner of trays, yet it's an important job in box making. I'd recently mentioned that I had used 2 approaches for this, but had found a third, and while preparing for this presentation, I found a 4th. I'm sure there are more variations. For the presentation, I made a tray with very thick walls to help make the small details of this topic more visible. At flash speed, I'm making a double-walled tray to use in this video. My usual binder's board is 2.4mm thick, which makes the walls of this tray 5mm thick. Double-walled trays are easy to make. Start with a normal tray and then add another layer with the outer layer overlapping the join inside of it, reinforcing it. You don't want the join lines lined up, which would be a weakness. The last 2 methods I'll demonstrate can't be used with the covering style that is solid over the base, because the covering material is slit at the corners. And when using the wall wrapping approach, you need to remember not to slit the material at the corners. So that I could do each corner independently, I used single pieces of covering cloth at each corner. This meant I could use offcuts too. With a real tray, a single piece of cloth would wrap all the way around the entire tray. The really wide walls of the demonstration tray worked great in the presentation, but the upper part of the tray kept hiding the work being done. I had a brilliant idea. Chop the tray into quarters. And this worked for the video, but you have to remember while watching that normally you're working inside a complete tray. Life is seldom so simple as to give you single corners to cover. The first method I'll demonstrate is the one I was first taught back in the 90s and the approach I use most. I start by slitting the covering material right at the apex of the corner. This is normally done when covering the walls and wouldn't be a step in this process, except if using the last 2 methods I'll show soon. These require the corner material be continuous. The key to this approach is making a nick in the covering material where it goes over the top of the walls. Pull the covering material tight over the top of the walls and with your knife aimed at the center of the tray, cut through the covering material to the wall underneath, but not into it. It's easier than it looks. If you pull the covering material to be slightly lower than the walls on the inside and slope the knife slightly downwards to the outside, you'll only cut where there's support under the material, and that's the width of the wall. You will make a mark in the wall, but it's much harder than the covering material, and it will just be a surface blemish which gets covered. The first side can now be cut from the beginning of the diagonal nick to the edge of the cloth in line with the inside edge of the wall. This piece will turn in last, giving an overlap on the inside corner. On the other side, I just remove a triangle that corresponds to the width of the top of the wall. The rest of the material will wrap onto the other side of the corner, providing an overlap so there's no chance of seeing the board underneath. This is an easy corner to complete. You glue out the side with the nick first and then the side trimmed to the edge. The result is a very neat corner. It's easier with my quarter trays. With a real tray you have to work on 2 corners at once. The second method is the one I see most often on the internet. It has a nice feature of having an overlap on the top of the wall. Like method 1, the corner needs to be slit out from the apex if it already isn't from the covering process. Now a tongue will be cut along the edge of the cloth that will sit on the top edge of the board. If you rub the material down over the edge of the board, it will make a slight impression which you can use as a guide for where to cut from. It's cut to the width of the board by aligning the edge of the ruler with the inside edge of the board. The second side is similar to the first method, and this is nicked over the top of the board and then cut from the edge of the diagonal in line with the inside edge of the board. To finish, the side with the tongue is glued first, and then the other side with the diagonal nick. The result looks the same as the first method, but with the feature of an overlap on the top of the wall. The downside is there's no overlap on the inside of the wall. Maybe this doesn't bother you, or maybe it's a nested box with another box fitted inside of it, so that the inside corner will be never seen. It's a useful technique to know. When the time comes that you need it, you'll have it in your toolbox of tricks. The third approach is one I remembered while reading the book Boxes for the Protection of Rare Books by Margaret Brown at the Library of Congress. For this corner, you don't want the cloth cut at the apex. Instead, a tab is made by cutting on both sides of the corner in line with the inside of each board. This tab is then pulled down into the corner, providing an overlap on both walls. Pulling the tab down over the corner does require the covering material to have some give and take, some stretch maybe. The extra thick walls of my demonstration tray will test the properties of arbelay buckram for this job. To finish, the tab is glued and put in place first. A pointy bone folder helps mould it to the inside of the tray. Then the sides are put down, overlapping the tab. It's much easier to do over thinner walls. The last method is a variation of method 3, except it's only cut on one side. I'd not come across this method until I was doing research for the presentation I gave. I found it in the Hollander's book, Construction and Covering Boxes. This approach was well known by the people in the presentation I gave. Apparently I was the last person to find out about it. Despite being the simplest to prepare with only one cut, I did find it difficult to do neatly. It was made harder by the thick walls of my demonstration tray. After making the cut, the side away from the cut is put down first, as this wraps onto the opposite wall, providing the overlap, which is then covered neatly by the second side. The difficulty comes from getting the material to form nicely over the corner. With some persuasion with the bone folder, it is possible to get the corner looking neat. I didn't think my demonstration test was a fair test of this method, so I did a second test using a tray with more normal thickness walls, and it went much smoother. That's the 4 ways I now know how to get covering material over the corners of a tray. Let me know in the comments if you have another method and what the pros and cons of your approach are. Thanks again to the Nordic Bookbinders Society for the invitation to present to them and the inspiration for this video. Until next time, cheerio!